Welcome, Briar Bros, to Pipecast number 6.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while since we did Pipecast number 5, which was the perfect pipe experience, and I think that's when we announced the 200 special, right? The 200 subscribers, which is now like 360, I think.
Yeah,
at the time.
yeah.
So, like, thank you for that. That's been amazing.
Yeah. Where's that gone? So we're kind of looking at where we're going to take this for the next stage, and
exactly, yeah.
We want to kind of get people involved as well. So if you've got some content that you want us to take a look at, some reviews or some material or some topics you want us to take a look at, we can do that too. So drop it in the comments.
Yeah,
we'll take a look.
And we've had a couple of people express some interest in having some conversations, which would be nice too if we can get them set up. So yeah. So and we're celebrating with a new bourbon that we've not tried before.
Yeah, this is the first one, isn't it, for us? The Old Forester,
86 proof. Picked it for its rye content. We were told it was high rye, and we're rye bros.
We are.
We like the rye, so we're gonna give that a try too. So,
what's in the pipe tonight, bro?
Yeah, bro. Well, the thing is, recently, Dion hipped me to the Peterson's early morning pipe,
Great,
the old EMP.
Great,
yeah. And I really enjoyed it, and it kind of led me to looking into the other Peterson's English stuff.
It's in a bit of a trilogy, isn't it? The English mixes.
Yeah.
So there's three of them.
So there's the EMP, which is for the early morning pipe, which is for the morning. Then you've got the nightcap, which I believe yours
is this one. Yeah, this is nightcap.
And then you've got so that's clearly marked out for the morning and the evening. And then there's the My Mixture, which it's not marketed as a midday smoke, but I think it's a nice midday smoke, even though I'm smoking it in the evening.
Yeah.
I think it's like the third sister of the
of
the group.
Yeah. The Cinderella.
Yeah. Of the three Latakias.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in love with this blend at the minute.
Interesting about the inclusion of Latakia in the blend, I think, because it's in there. It's good in there. It's obviously it's nice in there, and you can tell it's in there.
Yeah.
But at no point does it feel overpowering.
No.
And it's
true.
an interesting relationship between that and with this one and the the Cavendishes, the brown Cavendishes as well, not the black.
Yeah.
And the Oriental.
The brown Cavendish is just delicious in this. I think it takes the foremost note, and it's like caramel.
Yeah.
And there's a nutty kind of note.
I think it's like bonfire toffee.
Yeah, and there's a nutty kind of hazelnut thing that reminds me of Nutella.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Really quite mild, but just delicious. So anyway, onto the topic.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about the future of pipe smoking.
Yeah. Now, please don't stop after a couple of minutes, because it's going to start off a little bit. Slightly black-pilled.
Yeah, look, we know that it's not all sunshine and roses, right? But, spoiler alert, we think there may be hope as well.
Yeah.
So what we thought is we'd get the doom and gloom out of the way, and then we'll move on to what's giving us some hope.
Yeah.
Hopefully, end it on a good note. So, let's start with Mexico.
Okay. Bro, of all the things to ban there, really? You're gonna ban tobacco smoke,
and this is wild. I only learned about this earlier this week, although apparently it's been in effect for a while. So, someone was I was online. It was people were talking about cigars. Some guy was talking about having his wedding in Mexico and whether he could smoke a cigar for his wedding. And people were talking about, the law, this and that. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
You can't. Why are they discussing the legality of smoking a cigar in Mexico? Turns out, earlier in the year, Mexico banned all of tobacco use outside of private homes and private outdoor areas. So essentially, home and garden.
Yeah, crazy.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
Like you said, was that Mexico's number one problem?
It's not even the top 10, is it? Surely.
Was tobacco usage Mexico's number one problem? And what's with the draconian crackdown?
Yeah.
Absolutely wild. And if that is any kind of precedent for what's the rest of the world will follow, and I know that it's Mexico, and generally Mexico isn't a precedent setter for the rest of the world, but it's troubling.
Yeah.
And we we've seen the same thing in New Zealand.
Yeah, the rolling ban.
Yeah.
So effectively, like this year it's illegal to buy if you're 18, next year it's going to be illegal to buy if you're 19, and so on and so forth. So effectively there's a generation of kids that are never going to ever be able to smoke anything.
Which is absolutely wild, like...
Beyond draconian.
Beyond draconian, yeah. Like, who gets to decide that? Like...
Crazy. And ultimately it's kind of lumped everybody in, so, you know, if kids want to... Kids, but, you know, at that point, if they're old enough... You're 19, you're old enough to go and fight for your country. The same way you're not old enough to make a decision about whether or not to buy tobacco or not.
Yeah, can't smoke a pipe.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Or to vote in an election, ironically.
Yeah.
So one slight bit of hope. This isn't the bit of hope that we're going to go into later, but one bit of hope is that the person who was responsible for that, the person responsible for that has been sacked. She's gone. So yeah, that's a crazy draconian thing to do. That it's just lumped all tobacco in one. So cigarettes, cigars, cigarillos, pipes, snuff, everything. It's all in one. It's absolutely wild. But then she's had to step down. So is that a bellwether? Is that a canary in the mine? Who knows? But it's pretty crazy.
Well, yeah, and you know, New Zealand is a Commonwealth nation, right? So it's got more like clout, I guess, like geopolitical clout than Mexico.
But I mean, what are they going to do with the hobbits?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Well, they're going to smoke.
They're going to say nay to that, I'm sure. So yeah, I've been so New Zealand, not hopeful there. We've seen here in the UK over the last year, we've seen the prices of pipe tobacco just steadily climbing.
Right.
I mean, I was saying I started smoking a pipe 2021, and it was like $7.25 for 25 grams of whatever you like, and now it's like just under a tenner or something.
Yeah.
That's in the space of like 2 years.
Yeah.
So
if you can't make it legally prohibitive, they make it cost prohibitive. So
they'll just price you out.
Yeah. So and that's not the same. That's not just end with that either. You know, like the English fish and chips. You know, it used to be like the cheap meal.
Bro.
You know, that's you don't get any change out of a tenner now.
Yeah. I mean, you were just saying about the two pints you bought as well.
Crazy. Like a local pub, it's like at the bottom of my road. It's like 12 quid for 2 pints. It's like absolutely ludicrous.
Unforgivable.
Yeah. So it's kind of another attack on, as we see it, you know, another attack on the gentleman's pursuits. You know, that at the end of the day, when Tolkien and Lewis finished writing their first drafts of something, they'd been scribbling away. You know, Tolkien had been beavering away in Sindarin, and he wants to go nip down the pub and go and see his mate C.S. Lewis down at the pub and going to get a jar of something good and a bowl of something better, right? Probably Capstan.
Yeah.
And have a smoke and kind of go through the rigours of the day. That obviously is becoming harder and harder for people of our generation to do now.
Yeah, and it's like we were saying earlier that all of tobacco usage is being put into one thing. So, like, again, I'm not here to bag on cigarette smokers, but the cigarette is an entirely different product to the pipe, to the cigar. So it's this, source of freebase nicotine that's inhaled directly into the lungs. Obviously, as pipe smokers, we're not inhaling that smoke. It's much less processed in terms of, there's no actual freebase nicotine sprayed onto what we're smoking. Right. It's just not the same animal. And to clump it all together and suggest that the health outcomes of a cigarette smoker are the same as a pipe smoker.
Vapes.
Well,
I mean, and that's not that. So the direction of travel that it's always been that, the cigarette to the pipe was, it was chalk and cheese. It's night and day. It was having a smoke and in a quick smoke break. It was a couple of minutes, 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes at the most.
Yeah.
you're back upstairs, or you're back in the office, and you know, you're kind of back on your laptop. It's to hurry up, smoke as quick as you can. And now it's like not even smoke breaks, like right vape sticks. It's like just, you know, people wandering around everywhere, just, you know, smashing away on the vape sticks. That's not even tobacco.
It's not even, yeah.
It's just, I mean, what is it?
I know. I mean, look, I'm going to say this. I'm going to plant a flag here. Whenever we bring up cigarettes on here, I'm always careful to say I'm not here to judge cigarette smokers. I'm here to judge vapors, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm here to judge that shit.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah,
it's...
What is it?
Yeah.
What?
I mean, so some of the first tobacco usage would have been pipe.
Right.
The pipe. So we know that the Native Amerindians were using pipes.
Yeah.
I think there's like pipes found in Siberia, really old pipes. You've got
the Navy boys.
Yeah.
You know.
Then you've got I believe Aztecs or Incas that maybe were rolling some kind of cigars.
Yeah.
And then at some point I don't think cigarettes are that old, but basically I think the cigarette gets invented in France. And
Scans.
Yeah. And it's a commodified, what's the word, like...
It's like it's an abstraction,
yeah,
I think I would describe it as.
Yeah.
Of the tobacco smoking process.
Yeah, it's like...
derivative.
Yeah, exactly, it's derivative. It's reduced the nicotine absorption aspect of... It's taken that aspect of the pipe smoking and it's reduced it right down to its, you know, like... It's, you know, kind of like conclusion. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, reductio.
Yeah.
So it's just this little stick that burns out in 5 minutes and delivers nicotine. Yeah. But even then, bro, they would have been rolling their own tobacco.
It would have been reasonably good quality.
It would have been good quality tobacco.
Because we've had, you know, the Virginia Gowie Hogarth tobacco. Like, not bad.
Yeah, we've had a couple of rollies and American Spirits.
Yeah.
Shout out to Spirits. Mm-hmm. I like the American Spirit actually. Yeah. But yeah. And then, bro, so if you thought that that's what cigarettes were, they took it a step further.
That's right.
The vape.
Yeah, it's not even a cigarette now.
Yeah. And it's just this
battery powered as well. It requires energy.
Yeah.
To use. You know, you can't just light it off a bit of wood or a match or a lighter. I know they all use fuel, but like you can get a twig and light that or something.
Exactly.
You know.
And then you look at the pipe and it's this like it's been crafted out of a natural product that's grown from the earth. You got an acrylic stem, whatever, but then you got
or
vulcanite, yeah, which is the natural rubber product thing. But then you got the vape, which is like some kind of robot appendage.
A lot of them are disposable now.
Yeah, disposable. It just churned out in a factory in China, probably.
Right.
The juice certainly is.
Yeah.
Like, who knows what's in that stuff? Who knows what is in that stuff?
Yeah. It's a million miles away. It's as far away. It's as far away from smoking a pipe as
you could get,
as it can possibly get. It's not
while
it's
still
not
consuming nicotine.
Correct. You know, it's not even the same. It's not even the same thing. So, yeah, it's a crazy direction to travel, and it's to look at it and to kind of read the news and look at the the stuff that's in the papers and on TV. And on YouTube and all the rest of it, it can feel a little bit blackpilling. It can feel a little bit demoralising. But I have a theory, and I'll test my theory out with you now. I'm going to test my thinking out, and with obviously our guys on the channel. And again, drop some comments in. I'd be interested to know what you think of this. But I see that going back to what I was saying about disposable stuff. So the vape is to the cigarette what the cigarette was to the pipe, right? And it's a continuation, it's a downward trajectory, and it's indicative of this modern disposable culture, right? Disposable architecture that's got a design life, disposable roads, they've got a design life, they have to be removed and thrown away. We've got roads that in this country that are from the Roman times, right? Like A5, I think, the
A1, right?
Great the A1, that's right. These have been here. They're straight as a die, and they've been there for time and centuries, right? You know, like a millennia and a half, maybe more. So, this sort of direction of travel is for having stuff which is cheap and mass-produced and throwaway. But that direction of travel is going downhill rapidly. You know, I don't think anybody can look at the news and think, you know, yeah, we're doing all right here. You know, every story that you hear, I mean, they're telling us, that's what they're saying. You know, that's their narrative. You know, everything's kind of all going down the pan. But the things that are going to be left when that's gone are going to be the things that have been built to last, right? Right. So, like I use the analogy of the frying pan, right? The modern Teflon frying pan, which I've disposed of because it was no good. I wouldn't use it anymore. Yeah. All the Teflon was flaking off and it's carcinogenic. I bought a large skillet. Yeah. Right? It'll outlast me. It'll outlast my kids. It'll outlast my kids' kids. Right? It's something that you buy for the generations. The buildings that we've got, they're going to be there for the generations, right? So the buildings that are going to be left over will be the beautiful architecture, the churches, the town halls and cathedrals. That's right. And it's the same with the pipe. You know, nobody's going to remember in 200 years' time, 300 years' time, a little bit of a plastic vape. Right. But the pipe is a design icon because it's been designed to last. It's been crafted. It's a process with tobacco, the process that they use to process that is old. It is an old process. The way that tobacco has been grown is, you know, probably an old methods of agriculture and processing the plant itself. So that the pipe is an indicator of what is to come when the new world has finally reached the end of its design life, and the tradition at that point will start to be rediscovered. Yeah, that's my theory.
I think that's a great point because, I mean, the whole thing about disposability is that it's kind of got the seed of its own destruction within it, because...
Like certain seeds?
Right, exactly, yeah. Because of the nature that it is disposable, well, it's going to be disposed of.
Correct. It has to be, yeah. The pipe, and so what comes after?
Yeah. Pipe isn't a disposable item.
No.
It's kind of like the whole philosophy of antinatalism. Mm-hmm. Well, if antinatalists aren't having kids, ideologies don't stick around.
Yeah, right.
And it's the same thing with disposable items. So I think that's a great point. And I think to further that point, I do think that the whole project of modernity, the last few decades, kind of just dispensing with tradition completely, that little project is reaching its natural conclusion, which is that nothing means anything. People are awash in a sea of meaninglessness, and they are looking back to older ways, right, and more traditional, ways of doing things, right. And I think that could be a saving grace for the pipe, because I mean,
in terms of the social aspect. So us now having a chat, but a group of guys are still able to rely on the old tenets of the chivalric code of honour and fraternity, and to an open, honest discourse over a pipe and a glass of something good.
Yeah, exactly, and you don't see a bunch of guys getting around to vape and
for a vape.
Yeah, should we have a vape and a drink? It doesn't happen.
Yeah, a vape and a bottle of White Lightning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think we are seeing a lot of younger, kids doing the vape thing, but a lot of young lads are getting into pipe smoking as well. Right. I mean, I'm sure that the numbers aren't as great, but we do see, I see it online, and we've got a friend who's got a son. He's 19 now. Right. And he's got himself a pipe. Well, we originally gave Johnny, his dad, the pipe. I didn't get a little go on it, but he wasn't that taken with it. But his lad, he had a go with it, and he put his first order in the other week. He got a tin of Samuel Gowith's Golden Glow. He's having a bit of trouble keeping it lit.
Great lad.
So he says, but we've all had that problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think these younger people that are coming up, and they're seeing that we've got rid of all the old things that used to give us meaning.
Yeah.
They're going to look back to, like we are seeing a resurgence in it's not exactly religious belief, but like more, I hate to use this word, but like spiritual. People are turning away from the whole materialist, scientific project.
Yeah,
and they're
utilitarian.
And they're looking towards things that more metaphysical, spiritual kind of answers to things.
Right.
Some of that can go in a wacky direction, obviously. But it is a sign that people are turning away from this.
Right.
I think more people are interested in. So, like we saw when, over the last couple of years, when people spend a lot more time indoors.
Yeah.
People getting sourdough baking.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah.
I had been into sourdough baking beforehand, and I couldn't get flour, and I know a lot of that was the panic buying and stuff. But people were getting into sourdough baking.
Right.
Like, it was a whole thing, and that's that's the traditional way that bread would have been baked. And,
right.
I think people are, like hiking is spending time we live quite close to the Peak Districts. It's a huge thing. Like young people, you're seeing them out in the peaks, just hiking. They got the pack. They're going out for a hike.
Yeah.
It seems that people are turning away from that and they're going back to more traditional things.
And I wonder if that kind of comes to for any of the followers that haven't been on Scott Mannion's channel, the Greenwood. Scott talks a lot about psychotechnologies, about technologies of things that require the thought and the design process that takes place between your ears. Like a longbow or or a bridge. I think he uses a bridge at one point where he's describing that to make that bridge, you've got a problem. The problem is you can't get over the river. How are we going to do that? Okay, well, I've got to kind of design this thing that's going to fit over it, and it'll be made out of something that's this long, and it'll be held together with this kind of material. It's the same with the pipe. I've got this plant, I've got this product. It's great when you burn it. It makes this nice fragrant smell. It's quite invigorating. So how do I smoke it?
Yeah.
And that instead of being going down to the supermarket and just buying something that's ready made off the shelf, ready to use, there's a little bit of a process involved. Not just necessarily in buying, because obviously we buy a pipe, we don't make a pipe. I'd love to.
Yeah.
Be cool, but we buy them from manufacturers who've been doing it a long time and use the same technological process, psychotechnology, especially for somebody like Mike at Blakemar, whose family have done it for generations. But when you buy a vape stick, it's already packed. You just take it out of the packet, squirt the juice in, and away you go. With this, there's a process, and the process is that you take your tobacco out of the tin, you rub it, it's ready. Okay, I'm going to pack it. So the packing, there's a process. And after the pack, there's the first light, and then we tamp in, and then so Sam was saying about couldn't keep his backy lit.
Yeah.
But there's a process to that. There's a learning curve to that. You're not just going to get something and it's an instant hit straight away. No,
exactly.
There's effort that is involved, and that again I think harkens back to that time where we had to be more connected with our technology. Our technology might not have been as advanced. I mean, it was advanced of its time, but it required. So I think Scott was describing that you have to step into a longbow, right? You've fired a longbow before. That there's an effort that is required. You have to meet it almost halfway.
Yeah, they're quite heavy. The poundage on a longbow.
Yeah.
I used to be quite into archery. I've not shot for a while, but
it's a good English pursuit.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
We did all right on the continent with that, if I remember right.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, the old French tour. Yeah, shall we?
Iconic. Yes, please.
And speaking of English, the old English pursuits. So we got Gareth over here, which have been in business since 1792. So we've got a nice heritage there, and hopefully that's going to stay strong.
Yeah.
They're still using. If you have a look, the machinery. Salute. Yeah. If you look, the machinery that they're using, like these presses, they're ancient. They're still the old presses that they were using, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
I would like to see some new houses spring up. I'd like to see some. Yeah. Much as I love Gareth, I absolutely do. It'd be nice to see some Some like...
Now here's the thing. Could the tobacco industry...
That's good.
That is very good. Could the tobacco industry go the way of the craft ale industry?
That's exactly what I was thinking. You've seen all these little craft breweries popping up, like driving around Derbyshire, you see... There's loads of them, man, like out in the like peaks and stuff.
Right.
That's what I like to see, like little kind of like boutique blends, little craft blending houses.
Pop-up houses, you know?
Yeah.
Guys just having a go.
Yeah.
You know, I've been to a couple of beer festivals before where it's been 3 or 4 lads in Sheffield who've bought some kit and some hops, and they've sourced some good quality ingredients, and they've made themselves some absolutely tip-top brews, and then just packed it in. Thought, we'll do something else for a little while, and we'll come back to it.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing. I think that's fantastic, and I would love to see that with the old pipe tobacco. Yeah.
You source your tobacco, you source your methods, your casing, your flavours, right?
Yeah, I think that'd be amazing, and I would love to see that. And I think that happens more in America, in the US, and obviously like the pricing of the tobacco in the US is a lot more favourable. Over here, the direction is not great. But I know over there you can still get decent tobacco for a good price.
Right.
And so that's hopeful at least. But yeah, I think our hope with the pipe is, like you said, the nature of disposability is that it weeds itself out of the gene pool, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so what will last is the things that are made to last, like you said, things that have been crafted by hand, which is the pipe. And
ultimately, this thing it can be enjoyed on your own. Want a bit of time to yourself and a bit of quiet time. I was saying to Harry earlier that it's the antithesis of the rush society. The society of the instant gratification. It's enjoyed over time. It always kind of raises a smile when I remember when I first got the Falcon, and the Falcon had got a little leaflet in there, and it said you may find that your Falcon bowl gets hot. So it's a metal stem. If it gets too hot, it's because you are smoking it too hard. If you're smoking it too hard, it's probably because you're smoking too fast. And if you're smoking too fast, you're not going to enjoy it. So slow down, calm down. You'll have a better experience. You won't burn it. You won't fry the tobacco. You won't overheat your bowl, and you'll relax yourself in the process.
Yeah, I mean, we make this point a lot, but the pipe is about setting aside time, and it's about I always say like a rushed pipe is the pipe you should have smoked. Yeah, it's ruined. It's a ruined experience, and I think that is also goes counter to the modern kind of playbook. Setting aside some time to just
the currency of the age.
Yeah,
and what do you want to fill that time with? Yes, it can be enjoyed on your own, but for me, there's nothing quite finer than getting a couple of lads together, just you and myself, talking some stuff. It can be deep stuff, it can be some ramble, it can be some stuff about memes, it can be whatever it is, theology. But the point of it is that it's an enjoyment that's shared, and I think that's something that definitely will stand the test of time.
Absolutely,
that's the future of it for me.
People need that. People are always going to want that, and it's just a nice little hook that brings people together.
Right.
You got the smoke, you got the drink, and like you said, people are always going to want that. That's always going to be around.
Yeah.
So that could be another source of hope for us. So
the future's good.
I think the future's good.
We know where to look.
Yeah, I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
I'm really hopeful about it. Pipe smokers have been associated with having longer health outcomes, in fact.
Right.
So I think it's a matter of educating people. Like the other day, actually a few weeks ago, I was smoking the pipe. I was outdoors in the old Graves Park.
Yeah.
I was with my mum. She said, "Oh, you worried about getting the
C?
Yeah. I was like, "Not particularly. Why?" And she was like, "Well, your lungs and that." I was like, "You don't inhale.
Just go in your lungs.
You don't inhale.
Very little goes in.
She's like, "Really? You don't?"
Yeah.
A lot of people think that you do, and I think it's about informing people.
Right.
it's a taste experience. It's like a whiskey. It's like
It
a nice
is.
wine.
Totally. But yeah, which is strange. Like when you say to people, "Oh, I'm going to have a cigar," they don't really tend to kind of look at it the same. Like, oh, you're a bit of a connoisseur.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's very strange.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem to have a bit more of a
So what is that?
air of acceptability about it. I think like
and prestige somehow.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean the cigar is. I guess it's. Yeah, you do associate with prestige and the pipe. The pipe has always been. It's been like the method of choice for the working man,
Right.
And the
thinker.
The thinker.
Right.
Yeah, but also like the aristocrat, the rich man as well.
I mean, it seems like pictures of all the young like Einstein. I think of all the pictures from our old MP Tony Benn. Got a pipe on, and all these different old politicians and stuff. Harold Wilson, and Tolkien.
Yeah,
you see all these guys that from all different sort of backgrounds, but they've all got a pipe on. The old Bond films, you see him sort of sat there and poring over his paperwork.
Yeah,
he's got a pipe on.
Yeah, so that could be another point of hope for us. Definitely, just like educating people on the subject, maybe like changing the public perception of the pipe
and narrative.
Yeah, and I think perhaps like if more young men are turning to that could be a turning point.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
So we've got some other stuff coming up. So a couple of ideas that we'll probably share with you now. We're looking at some music. About the kinds of music that we like to listen to.
The Smoke Lounge playlist.
Smoke Lounge playlist, yeah. So that's something to watch out for coming up soon. We've also got a couple of shorts planned. Yeah. Just some little vignettes, things that we can share with you. So yeah, lots of content coming up. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and let us know in the comments. Are you hopeful for the future? If you are, what are your points of hope? Because I need some white pills, boys.
Yeah, we all do.
Need some white pills.
Don't be shy.
Yeah.
Don't be
also, in anticipation of the Smoke Lounge playlist, drop us some tunes.
Right.
In the comments. Let us know what you like to listen to when you smoke. So, yeah, we'll wrap you up there. Yeah.
We're good.
Thanks for tuning in. God
Thank
bless.
you.